Winning Time has been canceled. Mm-hmm. They didn't even wait for the last episode there before they cut the cord, so to speak, on Winning Time. That's upset a lot of people, and it upset me, but it also made me think, right? What's next in that world? Jeff Pearlman has another book that he wrote. It's called Boys Will Be Boys, about the Dallas Cowboys. I decided what I want to see is I want to see Boys Will Be Boys, Jeff Pearlman's other book, get the Winning Time kind of treatment. I want to make a series based upon this book about the rise and fall of the Dallas Cowboys.
Quick, option it.
Right, and the Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson thing, because as a Cowboys fan, I sit here and I go, had Jerry not fired Jimmy, we would have won 4 Super Bowls in a row. We probably would have 10 or 11 or 12, maybe 13 Super Bowls total. Probably would have won every year, in my opinion. So what I want to do is I'm going to cast Boys Will Be Boys, giving it the Winning Time formula as a series.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start off with the main guy, and that's Jerry Jones. Who could play Jerry Jones? Well, I think a guy you know from Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle. I have Bryan Cranston.
That's interesting.
As Jerry Jones.
Okay.
I feel Bryan Cranston, if you saw him in Malcolm in the Middle, you would have never thought that he could have pulled off what he did in Breaking Bad. But the man is a first-class actor. Teaches master classes. And so Bryan Cranston as Jerry Jones, I think, is just a hit. Now we got Jimmy Johnson. Who could play Jimmy Johnson? Well, this guy's got to have a great head of hair. So after thinking, Josh Brolin. You know him from the Goonies when he was a kid, and as an older man, No Country for Old Men, and the Avengers. I feel like he could portray the role of Jimmy Johnson as the other lead of this series. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go into some of the players. Troy Aikman, 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. Who could play him? I got Chris Hemsworth. You know him from Thor, The Avengers. Look at him. Blue-eyed, blonde. Good-looking guys. What do you think? I think that Chris
Blonde-eyed
Hemsworth.
and blue hair?
Yeah, that too.
Right,
all of that. You know, I have dreads, so I don't have either one of those things. But I got Chris Hemsworth playing Troy Aikman. Now, Mike Irvin, the playmaker. All right, how important was he to the Cowboys' success? I got a guy who's a friend of the Rich Eisen show, and that's actor Yaya Abdul Matin II. You might know him from Candyman, Aquaman, Watchmen. I feel like he can embody what the playmaker brought to that team, and I think it's a good fit. I think it's a good look. Now we got Emmitt Smith, right? In my opinion, the greatest running back of all time, with all due respect to all the other great running backs. This one was kind of easy. I got John David Washington, son of Denzel Washington. You know him from Ballers and Tenet and Amsterdam. He was also played at Morehouse College. He was a draft pick of unsigned free agent signing to the Rams back in, I think, 2006. So he knows how to tote the rock. So I've got him portraying the role of Emmitt Smith. And then we got Nate Newton, one of the offensive guard, one of the hugest personalities, as we all know. He was a guy who used to wear dress shoes and black dress socks with shorts on his college campus. I've got Brian Tyrie Henry. You might know him from Atlanta. You might know him from Bullet Train. I feel like he can embody Nate Newton. Now, he's a little smaller than Nate, so we're going to have to work on getting his weight up or padding his suit. But I think Brian Tyrie Henry is the guy there. We also have Daryl Moose Johnston, who was just a pivotal part of the Cowboys offense, opening holes for Emmitt Smith. I've got Alan Richardson, another friend of the Rich Eisen show. You might know him from Reacher, Fast X, Blue Mountain State. Big guy. That's what the Moose was. He's going to open up holes for Emmitt Smith, and I think Alan is the guy to play Moose. Now we've got Jay Novacek, tied in the Cowboys. For me, I'm casting Will Polter. You might know him from We're the Millers, Detroit. He also did a great episode of The Bear on FX, if you're a fan of The Bear. He's playing Jay Novacek for me, just the great tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. And then we've got Charles Haley.
I was going to say, how do you not have
Charles Haley? I mean, he's got to be a guy who's a huge part of this story. As you know, he's a guy who Jerry Jones went and picked up at the airport when they signed him. I've got Amin Joseph, the actor. You might know him from Snowfall, where he plays Uncle Jerome. If you've ever seen Jerome talking about teaching your boy how to squabble, then you know that he's going to be perfect to play this role of Charles Haley, because that guy was a beast, and he was no joke. And then we got another guy who's really big in the news right now. That's Deion Sanders, who came over to the Cowboys. And who better to play Deion Sanders than
Deion Sanders. You know, it could be one of those, and Deion Sanders
As Deion
himself.
Sanders.
Well,
Yes.
that wouldn't be a bad idea, but I got someone else in mind just to play younger. How about his son, Shiloh? You ever seen Shiloh
nice,
do
nice,
a Deion
nice,
impression?
nice.
He sounds just like his pops, and maybe that's why Deion has him last in his child ranking, because
I
he's
do
always
not
kind
like
of making
child
fun
ranking.
of his dad. But Shiloh looks like his dad. He can talk like his dad. He plays DB like his dad. He wears 21. I feel like he's the man to have played Deion Sanders. That's kind of obvious. And then, as you ladies know, behind every good man, there's what?
A better woman?
There you go.
Right.
So we got to have Miss Jean Jones cast, right? And who better than my favorite actress, who's also a friend of the Rich Eisen show, and that is Jodie Foster. As you can see, she is
Awesome.
probably my favorite actress. We're going to have her playing Jean Jones, and she's going to try to balance out some of Jerry's craziness. And like you said, behind every good man, there's a great woman. And I feel like this casting needs to happen. Boys Will Be Boys should be hitting HBO or the Roku channel or something. And I need to see this made, okay?
TJ, two things. Number one, not only does this casting need to happen, you need to be the casting director because you are so good at this. You cast this spectacularly. Now, look, I don't want you leaving the Rich Eisen show, and I don't want you leaving What the Football.
It's a nice
but
stage up.
You've got a career as a casting director, but there's one thing you failed to do. You know, I interacted with Jerry a lot during my years in the league, and I think I should have a cameo.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying, Amy. It's one of those things
but
where, like,
don't say on air who you would cast as
no,
me.
you're playing you.
Oh, and Amy Trask
And
as
Suzy
herself.
plays Suzy.
I like this.
I mean, it's
Okay.
like, you know, in a double play where you don't always touch second base, but the guy gets called out anyway. That's obvious casting.
I get a cameo.
You two are definitely in the movie.
Amy Trask, Suzy Shuster for What the Football drops every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you find your podcasts.